Healthcare was mandatory for the people of the coast of Moria, but for those in unsavory professions, divine intervention or well-trained physicians were not an option. The Draconic Lords of Asek diverted some of their thieves to minor alchemical training, so that they could repair the more combative members of the organization. With their nimble fingers, these rogues had a natural aptitude for medicine, but their knowledge of humanoid anatomy had a deadly side effect, striking their enemies with surgical precision. Alright, we're going to do the Patreon plug right off the bat this time. It's up there, that's where the text version of all of these subclasses are. But the reason I'm talking about it is because I have my patrons vote on which subclass comes next, and I really thought this would lose to the Dragon Warlock. Dragon Warlock has been in high demand for a long time, but there's something that people want more, and that's comprehensive medical care. So remember, stay 6 feet away to avoid opportunity attacks, get your Vaxildons, and remember that healthcare is a variant human right. First, as always, we're going to talk about the class from which the subclass springs, Rogue. It has a reputation for being edgy, probably because expertise gives you anime levels of non-failure, and sneak attack kind of dares you to say, "Nothing personnel, kid." Reliable talent makes it almost impossible to fail a skill check that you're proficient with, and you have more proficiencies than any other class in the game. You even get an extra ability score improvement. It's not quite as many as Fighter, but you can raise your stats to be the second highest of any base class in the game. As far as defensive options go, the D8 hit die is not great, but Uncanny Dodge and Evasion will have you shrugging off hits and fireballs without worry. The best defense for a Rogue, though, is to just not be in a place where you can get hit. That's where Cunning Action comes in, letting you dash, disengage, or hide as a bonus action, so you can either be very far away or completely hidden from your enemies. It's really not a complicated class. The only complicated part about it comes in from the subclasses, and even some of the subclasses are pretty simple. Scouts hit and run, thieves steal stuff, assassins do one big crit at the beginning of combat and pretend to be other people, yada yada yada. There's a lot of great roguish archetypes, and they all give you great role-playing opportunities. Speaking of opportunities, the Medic Rogues of Moria emerged from a lack of opportunity. If you were working for the Draconic Crime Lords of Asek and didn't have a propensity for picking pockets, they would shift you to focus on medicine and alchemy. These crime bosses didn't want clerics, as they would have dual loyalty with the gods they were serving, and artificers with healing skills were expensive.
I'm a doctor. No, you're not!
It was best to take someone who was already in the organization and pigeonhole them into one specific area, but this big focus gave them expertise in the medicine skill, as well as with alchemical supplies. These skills were useful to craft emergency medicine, which took different form depending on the rogue that crafted them. Some preferred the direct approach with an injectable substance, whereas others made salves or syrups. Believe it or not, even in the criminal underbelly, there are plenty of people with a needle phobia. However they wanted to make the emergency medicine, they were able to craft a number of doses equal to their proficiency bonus with an hour of time, usually taken as part of a short rest. As their knowledge of humanoid anatomy expanded, so too did their sneak attack damage. Or maybe it was the other way around. Either way, emergency medicine healed a number of d6s equal to half of your rogue level rounded up, which is the same as their sneak attack damage if you want it to be easier to track at home. Important note, these doses were not the same as a health potion. The rogue's administration technique was just as important as the chemicals inside of the medicine, or so they led people to believe. Medicine was effective at keeping compatriots alive, but it was also effective at keeping foes immobilized, in one way or another. At level 9, a medic's knowledge of anatomy gave them access to a creature's pressure points. This let them make a medicine check against a creature's constitution check, stunning the creature if the medic won. The first use of this took an action, but in subsequent rounds they could maintain this hold on the creature using their bonus action, repeating the contest as they used their bonus action. They could only find that special spot once per long rest, and did need to stay within touch range of the creature to maintain it. But considering attacks against stunned creatures are made with advantage, that meant that the medics could also get their sneak attack off, and that immobilization would often become permanent. Even when they didn't have their doses of emergency medicine, the medics were very good at keeping their compatriots from checking out. At level 13, their quick response allowed them to use their reaction to move up to their movement speed when a friendly creature within 30 feet of them hit 0 HP. Their response time was so legendary that creatures wouldn't be able to make opportunity attacks against them while they moved in this way. And by the time it reached the rogue's turn in combat, there was no one better at stabilizing a creature at 0 HP. After being stabilized by a Medic Rogue, a creature gained 1 HP. This only happened an amount of times per long rest equal to the Rogue's proficiency bonus, either because that's how many times they could get lucky, or there are accounts of rogues who just got sick of bringing people back from the dead. While cleric spells can cover multiple creatures in different areas and have different healing effects, the singular focus of the Medic Rogue allowed them to concoct the most potent of potables. By the time they reached the 17th level, Medic Rogues were able to fill their medicine with a jolt of adrenaline. After receiving a dose of emergency medicine, the creature who received it would be able to immediately take an action. This meant a wizard could shoot a fireball, a cleric could heal the healer, or as was most often the case, the rogue could heal themselves and then land their sneak attack in the same turn for a nice 18d6 of total HP differentiation between their party and the enemy party. So were the dragons right to entrust healing duties to a rogue, or would it have been better to just invest in a bit of divine favor? Well, first, cunning action made rogues some of the fastest healers on the field, letting them get in to administer medicine better than just about any other class, save for maybe monk. Some medics only cared about healing themselves, but pairing that with uncanny dodge actually made the class kind of tanky, even with the D8 hit die. Reliable talent and expertise in the medicine skill guaranteed that you would stabilize a creature, but it also made pressure points virtually impossible to fail. And that's pretty strong, but they have to maintain touch range, can only use it on one creature per day, and have to use their bonus action to maintain it. Really, it can only take one creature out of the fight at a time. Most roguish archetypes have an unofficial second stat you want to invest in, and for the medic, it's definitely wisdom, which means that when you get slippery mind for proficiency with wisdom saving throws, that'll make you very consistent at one of the nastiest saving throws to fail and one of the most regularly rolled saving throws as well.
My trick's gonna work, gonna make only money.
Though, if it were me, I would want Constitution saving throws to help me with my cheese aversion. Constitution saving throws are the only thing to protect you from multi-class cheese. But multi-classing with Rogue in general is mostly for Rogue, not for the subclass. That's because you get a subclass ability at level 3, but don't get another one until level 9. Still, Medic plays very nice in this way, since emergency medicine's doses scale with your proficiency bonus, which levels up with your total level rather than any class levels. So if you wanted to dip to Rogue to get some expertise, sneak attack, cunning action, Medic would be a great way to also get a little bit of healing, expertise in the medicine skill, and alchemist supplies as well. Since Rogue's multi-classing minimum is dexterity, it shouldn't be surprising that it's so flexible. Put a little bit of healing on a dexterity fighter, or a ranger, or a dexterity fighter. Do dexterity fighter. Ranger isn't good. Monk would pair well with quick response, making you a little bit faster so you could go a little bit further to make sure that you're healing your friendly creatures, though if speed's what you're after, you could mix it with a spellcaster like Wizard, or Sorcerer, or Druid, or Bard. All of them have speedy spells. Artificer also has speedy spells and boots of speed to make you even faster, and you could get a magical weapon early, which fixes up one of the biggest weaknesses of Rogue, which is no magical weapons. Barbrarian is probably my favorite multi-class with this though, since the healing from it doesn't require spells. That means that you could rage and administer medicine as an angry doctor who resists bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Honestly, the only bad option I could think of is Paladin. And even that's not bad, it's just mad multi-ability dependent because you need strength and charisma and dexterity to make it all work together, right? That's not really even a medic thing. It's just a rogue thing, rogue multi-class as well. But the best way to figure out how well this multi-class is would be to play test it. So check out the Patreon and join the $5 tier to get this subclass and all the other subclasses, as well as character sheets for every episode of Building Character so you can put together a very fast one-shot. At the $2 tier, you can pop in the Discord and talk to people about these subclasses. So many people are joining every week, there's gonna be someone who will be able to talk to you. And at the $1 tier, you can vote in the polls to decide which subclass comes next. This week, we're looking at the Bruiser Fighter. This is a martial archetype that specializes in fighting with their back against the wall, or the Mirrored Soul Sorcerer, a soul trapped in the body from a parallel world that gives it strange magical properties, allowing it to reflect magic back at people who are casting it. If you can't support me on Patreon, that's fine. Just like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a nice comment. Nice comments help the algorithm even more. And come back next week for more from the Gilded Coast of Moria.